Hey guys, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you had a terrific Christmas. Happy Saturday and happy weekend. I'm very happy to report these incredible numbers that we've seen. $25,000 on the 25th of December on Christmas Day for Bitcoin and then some. Bitcoin, at least where I am in Canada, is still trending. Hashtag Bitcoin on Twitter. Everybody's talking about it. This holiday bump is very real as people have been getting together, talking with their families and disseminating knowledge, which is always a good thing. We'll be discussing that later in today's video. We'll also be discussing some of the star performers, some of the altcoins that we're especially excited about, including Litecoin, including Zilliqa, including especially Theta, and I'm going to make an argument quantitatively as to why it can go from where it currently sits, rank number 20 in the altcoins, to perhaps even into the top 10 and be a challenger in a decentralized sense to a lot of the other streaming platforms such as Netflix. Guys, if you like this kind of content, Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency, be sure to like and subscribe. First and foremost, a congratulations to all you out there in the Altcoin Buzz army. You effectively called the high that we saw yesterday on Christmas Day. We asked whether or not Bitcoin would hit 25K. It did so a little bit later in the evening, but it did so. And by the way, we're up significantly from that 25K mark, just below 26K at the time of this recording. But nearly 4,000 of you voted, and a full 2/3 suggested that yes, we would hit $25,000 for Christmas. As I record right now, Bitcoin sits even higher than that, $25,834, with a market cap, check this out, of $478 billion. That is significant because Bitcoin, in terms of the totality of its market cap, has now eclipsed a couple of major companies, major like top 20 S&P 500 companies. First of which here, CZ Binance is talking about is Visa. So Bitcoin just flipped Visa's market cap. You can take a look. Everybody's talking about this seemingly all over Twitter and other forms of social media. But looking in more granular detail, we can see here that the market cap globally of Visa is $460.06 billion. So Bitcoin just absolutely shooting past Visa. This is, I think, a wake-up call for many that, perhaps didn't feel Bitcoin would have the engines on it to get there, at least not this quickly. And I'll count myself among the skeptics. Not that I was a skeptic, but I was cautiously optimistic. I thought it would all take a little bit longer. As you can see here, scrolling down, we're on companiesmarketcap.com. Not only has Bitcoin at $478 billion blasted past Visa, it has now also surpassed officially Samsung with a $463.63 billion market cap. It's also gone past this semiconductor company, which is a massive one. You may not have heard of it, but TSMC out of Taiwan, they sit at $469 billion. Bitcoin has blasted past all three of these. It's my contention very soon that the next target on the list will be eliminated. Berkshire Hathaway at $531.45 billion. That is Warren Buffett's company. And then effectively, once Bitcoin takes that position, you can think of Bitcoin as being in the domain of the top 10 global companies in the world, or the equivalent to them in terms of market cap, because Berkshire Hathaway happens to occupy that 10th spot. We're going to come back to that company's market cap page in just a second, but Altcoin Buzz is celebrating here. Bitcoin is over $25,750 pinch. Again, this is just from an hour ago is already outdated because that is how quickly the market moves. So many people are expressing optimism. Max Kaiser for a while has been calling for a $28,000 Bitcoin. Even a few days ago, I think that sounded at least a little bit outlandish. It sounded premature. I wouldn't have expected that until perhaps February, maybe January of next year. But the momentum just keeps on building, and 28,000 all of a sudden isn't that crazy anymore. It's kind of now in that realm of possibility. I would dare say even before the end of the year. By no means is it guaranteed, but guys, we just touched 26,000, at least on Binance futures. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Max Kaiser, the ever enthusiastic cheerleader. Yep, I'm not seeing any conviction on the other side under $30,000. Panic buying is accelerating. I'm looking at various order books. Offers are getting pulled above $30,000. And you know what this means. Now, guys, I don't want to sound too euphoric here. I don't want to come across as irresponsible either in my recommendation. Again, I would categorize myself as cautiously optimistic. I think there is a possibility we hit that 28K mark in the even next few days, possibly 30K perhaps in January. We do expect a pullback though. And as always, we have to stay alert. We have to stay on our toes. A 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50% pullback in the world of Bitcoin is always possible. So please be alert and please be careful. But here's the phenomenon that we think we're all seeing, and I think Dan Held here of Kraken encapsulates the idea very effectively. What we're seeing in the price of Bitcoin is the classic holiday pump. People go home and brag to their family, friends, etc. about their Bitcoin gains, which then brings more demand, aka FOMO, fear of missing out. More and more people come into the space every day. You got to remember that people are hearing about Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency really for the first time. Or maybe they've heard about it, but over the course of these sit-down holiday dinners, questions are asked. And then as far as the housekeeping and the logistics of how to get involved, what exchanges to use, how to get your money working for you in this space. Some of those logistics and more detailed questions are answered. And yeah, the herd is certainly coming into the space. Still more institutionally driven right now during this time, December of 2020, but that's also going to start to change, at least in my opinion. And of course, we all know why. Michael Saylor sums it up here. Cash is a refuge from risk, but there is a price to pay. Would you sacrifice 98% of your opportunity to avoid the uncertainty of tomorrow? Volatility is vitality. Bitcoin is hope. And in volatility, whether you're talking about volatility rather to the upside or the downside, there is tremendous potential for gains. And as you can see here, the performance of the US dollar against Bitcoin has been abysmal. The US dollar is no longer a safe haven asset. It is a risky endeavor to hedge your bets using the US dollar. That wasn't always the case, but it is today. As you can see here, 12 months returns for USD against BTC, negative 71%, negative 24% in the last month, negative 57% over the last 3 months, and negative 98% USD against Bitcoin over the last 5 years. I'll use the descriptor again. I am cautiously optimistic, but that doesn't mean that trees can grow to the sky. I fully expect Bitcoin to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it is going to be a bumpy road. There are going to be ups and downs, and we haven't really encountered a major retracement since hitting new all-time highs. So this is just a seed I want to plant in the back of your minds. According to Warren Buffett here, who's not the greatest when it comes to his technology pedigree, but nevertheless and irrefutably is one of the greatest investors, perhaps the greatest investor that is alive today, with his old school methods. They're tried and true. And this is advice that is just universal. You must, to be successful, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Not trying to be pessimistic here, not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to create any FUD in this space because I am still extremely bullish, I think, as most of us are, but just something to keep in mind in the back of your head. And here you have Binance tweeting that Bitcoin hit $26,000. Hashtag Bitcoin won't let us take a day off. So just after hitting 25K on Christmas, that's up another $1,000. However, this particular price is a bit of a point of contention because it's according to Binance Futures, at least, which is a little bit of a leading indicator. But as you can see, we're on the BTC USDT chart here, the futures chart on the 30-minute candles. Bitcoin did hit a price of $26,053.61 as a local high here. However, according to many of the other exchanges, it fell just short of the 26K mark. But like I said, this is a leading indicator, and probably by the end of the day, I fully expect Bitcoin to be up over 26K. And if it's not, who cares? It's only just a matter of time. So Bitcoin right now, according to these charts, up 6.43% on the day. I want to highlight some other very impressive gains on the part of many of the other altcoins that I'm following at the moment. Ethereum hit $651.40 on the futures markets, now just over $640. Litecoin performing very well indeed at the same time, up over $130 right now. I really want to spend some time, however, and highlight the unbelievable performance of Theta. Now, as I record here, at a new all-time high, this is the 30-minute candle once again, $1.7, $1.70, trading at about $1.64, $65 right now. Again, we're on the futures markets here. Theta is an unbelievable success story. And if we're still going to be seeing subsequently the altcoin bull cycle, the bull market, if that's still something that's going to be unfolding over the coming months, I cannot believe what I'm seeing here as a precursor in the form of Theta's performance. It's unbelievable. Theta has skyrocketed now to the 20th position on CoinMarketCap, on CoinGecko, among so many other projects. And I think for the first time, there's a real argument for Theta to be in the top 10 among some of the biggest and most impressive projects in cryptocurrency. So we're going to break down the numbers. I want to remind you guys quickly, however, that we've been calling many of these price targets. So make sure you are following some of our price signals. The decision is always yours because we don't offer financial advice, but we do foster discussions that are informed both in our trade signals group and the comments of our videos, of course, and we do issue price analyses on the website, altcoinbuzz.io. So between all of those options, inform yourselves, guys, do your homework, do the legwork, and make the decisions for yourself, because none of this is financial advice. But make sure you're studying and making those decisions, because I think it's a time where it behooves you to get into it, to get your feet dirty, to roll up your sleeves, and really make a choice one way or another. Because likely, just in psychological terms, if you stand by on the sidelines, you may regret it, because there are some great opportunities out there. So we can't tell you what to do, but do join those discussions and refer to the resources that we provide one way or the other. Let's take a bit of a deeper look here at Theta Network, which just seems to be hitting new all-time highs every hour or so. It's unbelievable. On CoinGecko.com, we can see that Theta now occupies the number 20 spot. So currently at about $1.65, we're at a market cap total for Theta of $1.652 billion. That's $1,652 million. Theta up over 31% on the day. Really just unbelievable performance. Here's the thing. When you ask yourself, what potential does Theta ultimately have towards, for example, the end of the upcoming altcoin bull cycle? Maybe you can argue that we're already in the altcoin bull cycle, or that the market hasn't started yet. One way or the other, forget about the timing specifically, but ask yourself, what kind of a potential do you feel Theta has as a project given its own merits? Well, there's a lot of news that's coming out right now. Of course, we've been covering NFTs. I would say next to DeFi, decentralized finance, and so many of the new features and advantages that system has offered, NFTs have really been the story of 2020, non-fungible tokens. And here on Coindesk.com, this from a few days ago, native NFTs look to boost engagement and monetization for Theta.tv streamers. These guys continue to innovate and continue to offer new creative avenues for its content creators, which, by the way, are themselves a growing community. This is starting to get some more widespread coverage as well. On finance.yahoo.com, this is the same article republished here on Yahoo Finance, and this is certainly a growing sector, but that's to me just the subplot of what's going on. Most importantly is the fact, and we've seen it this year with the growth of streaming services. Think of Amazon Prime, if you are a subscriber, maybe not, but certainly the most popular platform for most of us is Netflix. And the streaming entertainment category isn't going anywhere. I think it's safe to say that it's here to stay. So what would it take for Theta to catch up to the likes of Netflix? Where does it stack up currently against YouTube, for example? Let's just do a very quick, a rough and ready analysis of, let's start with YouTube here. This is going back to 2019, actually a little over a year ago. Amid missed Alphabet earnings, analysts suggest YouTube spinoff could boast a $300 billion market cap. Now, we can't unfortunately look up YouTube on its own here on this website that we were referencing, companiesmarketcap.com. Of course, YouTube is owned by Google, which is owned by Alphabet, but this gives us some indication of what some of the numbers look like. I want to read this excerpt to you in particular. If Google were to spin off YouTube, the ensuing entity would still be massive. Martin predicts that YouTube on its own would be worth $300 billion, still ranking at number 13 among the biggest companies in the S&P 500, notes CNBC, right after Procter & Gamble, which touts a $307 billion market value. Currently, Alphabet's total market cap, including YouTube, amounts to a whopping $900 billion. Now, these numbers are a little bit outdated. So as you can see here, Alphabet right now is no longer worth $900 billion. It's worth $1.175 trillion. As I mentioned, that article was from a little over a year ago, in fact, October of 2019. So if we look at the difference and the growth between what was then $900 billion and what is now $1.175 trillion, you're looking at a growth of about 30.5%. So similarly, if we take that supposed $300 billion valuation for YouTube and we tack on a 30.5% growth since the time of that article's publication, you're looking at a modern day valuation for YouTube of approximately $390 billion, which is absolutely massive. And moving a little bit further down the list, let's take another point of comparison and consider Netflix. Of course, Netflix is, a standalone company. You can buy and trade Netflix. Its stock has certainly soared this year in 2020, given the context, of course, COVID and coronavirus and the pandemic and the quarantine. So Netflix sits at $227.06 billion. So as you can see, both of these ultimately streaming services, they do different things, of course, but they're both streaming entertainment services. They rank in the hundreds of billions of dollars. They're massive. Netflix, a little less massive, but still ranked number 35, the 35th largest company in the world. This just kind of gives you a sense of where the numbers are going. And as I mentioned, both of these have just been exploding in recent months because of the demand. In fact, if we take a look at Netflix and get a sense of, obviously going far back, it's almost unfair to compare it to previous years going as far back to, for example, 2004. But 2020 has been an unbelievable ride for Netflix here. But going back a little bit more than a year, 117.28 billion at the end of September 2019. So in a little over a year, you're talking about nearly a doubling in terms of the value. Netflix has had a meteoric 2020, just a phenomenal year in terms of the increased demand. So I bring you back to the star of the hour, our friends over at Theta Network that, again, right now sit at number 20 in terms of the rankings, up over 30% on the day with a market cap of now about 1.553 billion. Let's refresh that just in case, of course, these numbers can be a bit volatile. Theta Network, there you go. Good thing I refreshed. Now number 19 in the listings, $1.652 billion total market cap. If Theta were to break into the top 10 of the crypto sphere, it would, as of right now, look to replace Chainlink, which sits at about $4.4 billion. So you're looking at somewhere between a tripling and a quadrupling for the market cap of Theta to break into the top 10 as of right now, given where things stand. But here's the thought experiment. Even, at 4.5 billion, 4.67, 5 billion, 6 billion, $7 billion total valuation for Theta, would that really be the end of it when you have a decentralized, arguably superior version, technologically speaking, of what the larger Netflixes and the YouTubes of the world are offering? If Netflix can sit at over 200 billion, if YouTube can sit at nearly 400 billion, maybe we don't stop at $4 or $5 billion of valuation for Theta. Maybe we can go to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Maybe Theta could one day see a $100 billion market cap. And in that sense, I don't want to provide you guys with hopium. However, if that were to be the case, looking back, then the argument and the thought experiment would suggest that $1.65 is going to be pretty cheap when we look at that in the rearview mirror. So I don't have much more to say about this. This is very much a thought experiment. However, we can certainly agree upon the fact that in the broader sense, streaming services, streaming entertainment, video entertainment especially, is only a demand that's going to increase with time. And I think Theta is well positioned to be a leader in that context, not only a leader, but doing so in a decentralized capacity. I think the potential is huge, and I think we're only just getting started. I'm very excited. One more quick update before we wrap up for the day here. VeChain enables the cert app to go beyond COVID-19 records and onboards another hospital in Cyprus. Going back to the futures markets here on Binance, VeChain did take a hit when Bitcoin had that flash crash, relative flash crash, I suppose, the other day, falling all the way down to about 1.1 cents. However, back up pretty nicely now and regaining some of that positioning, up about 1.7% on the day. So guys, let me know if I've lost the plot. Let me know what you think about my predictions when it comes to Theta. It's massive potential, at least the way I see it. Let me know what you think about Bitcoin and whether it's going to hit the high $20,000 range, perhaps even by the end of the year. Just as much as a $28,000, a $30,000, a $40,000, a $50,000 Bitcoin, in my opinion, is inevitable, so too is it inevitable that we will see a pretty severe retracement. So again, just be careful. Keep that in the back of your mind. But best of luck if you choose to invest, everybody. Be sure to keep following us on all the regular social media channels. Keep checking into the website, Altcoin Buzz, for all the latest. Like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications if you guys enjoyed today's video. Do check that trade signals Telegram group, guys. Make sure you're availing yourselves of the resources that we provide. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great post-Christmas. And as always, we hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.